Sustainable investing. I think when the average person thinks about it, they think about wind farms, renewables, but where does food fit into the picture?
It's a very good way of framing it because people understand that energy is a fundamental piece of getting to net zero. But there's actually an underappreciation of what food systems can do in terms of achieving environmental objectives. We're talking about returning close to 1 billion hectares of land back to nature. So that's about 20% of the current coverage of agricultural land, essentially reinserting nature back into agricultural practices.
Why is Farm Ed so representative of what you're talking about?
This is a perfect example, right? They're moving away from a sort of traditional, intensive, industrial style of farming towards regenerative practices. A mix of using crop rotation, using cover crops, reinserting livestock to fertilize the soil, avoid tilling so you don't release the carbon that's trapped into the soil. The most striking thing when you arrive here is that it looks a lot more like nature. When you switch to regenerative farming, the carbon naturally sequestered by the soil in what you grow tends to increase. And that actually has value, increasing on financial markets as well, right? So-called nature-based solutions. So this is an interesting new business model for farms to think about.
We hear more and more that people need to make more responsible choices when it comes to eating, but does it mean we all have to go vegan?
First of all, I think it's important to think about food as a system, right? Globally, we need to reduce the amount of animal...
We'll pause there.
The short answer is no, we don't need to all go vegan. Overall, globally, yes, there is a need to reduce the amount of animal-based products that are being consumed, but it varies a lot geographically, right? So you have certain locations where there's definitely a disproportionate consumption of animal-based products in a way that is actually unhealthy. There's other locations, Africa for one, where there's an underconsumption.
I'm interested to know, do you get the appetite from investors out there?
The food system is about $10 trillion in terms of value add annually. It's an enormous piece of the global economy. I think there's a broad realization that there is actually a lot of opportunity, right, in this space. Think about precision farming and vertical agriculture. There's a huge opportunity related to the production of green hydrogen and green ammonia to produce clean fertilizers. There's all of those enabling solutions, some of which have to do with distribution. Think about alternative protein market, for instance. There's several hundreds of billions that could be unlocked in alternative proteins. I think food systems and a wider discussion around nature is really where generally policy, businesses, and the investment world is heading.
Thank you very much.
Gorgeous.
I think it's the next frontier of sustainable investment.